What are you talking about? I don't remember this.
Yes, we did. We did
Which
this.
celebrities smell the best?
Yes, and we said Beyonce looks like she smells like lemons.
I'm sorry, what? I actually don't remember this. I'm very sorry. I don't remember this.
I don't remember this conversation.
Shh, don't tell Mum. Hello and welcome to Shhh, Don't Tell Mum. My name's Barney.
And I'm Jamie.
And this is the #1 parenting podcast in the world.
Don't Google that.
Yeah, damn right. Don't Google that. You can see that me and Jamie are both sat on the exact same side of our podcast setup, which can only mean one thing. We're joined by a guest today, aren't we, Jamie?
A really special guest.
We are indeed. We have a star of the 2021 Love Island series, season 11, and also currently in SAS Who Dares Wins Celebrity Edition, of course, it is Teddy Soares!
Hello.
How you doing, man? You good?
Really good, thank you. Feeling good.
Are you feeling more like nourished now that you're not being put through the ringer on the SAS show?
Yeah.
I am. Watching it on my side of the fence and knowing that I don't have to go through it again is a good feeling. And I'm seeing what everyone went through, because there was a scene that I didn't actually take part in, which aired, where are we today?
We're on episode 2 currently, so we're early days still.
Very early days, but I didn't actually do the task where everyone was gassed and dying. No.
Is that because you just weren't there, or like what happened?
No, I was definitely there. I was like,
I was going to
I'm
ask
glad.
about
I have
that.
asthma. I have asthma.
So that's it.
Is that it?
So myself and Arj, we have asthma, so we didn't actually partake in that.
Okay.
Pretending like we were, we really wish we did. You know, we really wanted to do this.
Is that a you decision, or is that like a medical decision on site for them being like, we probably shouldn't include them, or is it like, we don't think we should do this? Like, how did it get decided?
This was them. I had no idea.
Okay.
That I
So you have to fill in like a form beforehand, and it says what health issues you have.
Yeah, and to be fair, we actually do a whole process where you have your checkups and all that kind of health MOT.
You got a physical. Yeah.
The whole MOT gets done, and then so they know my whole profile. And thankfully I didn't have to do that.
Damn,
did
it
you see
looked
Gareth's?
brutal.
Yeah, did you see
You know
Gareth's
what?
face?
Yeah.
That
And
was
just
the thing.
everyone had all this like saliva pouring out of their mouth, and I was like, oh, has everyone just been like, in the trailer for that scene, it looked like everyone had just been sick, but actually it's just because the stuff is just going into their throat and it's causing them to like choke on their own spit.
Is it weird
Pretty
to watch
much.
it back? Like, I can imagine because you've been on TV for a while now, but watching this back and then you doing the activities, is it different to like watching something like Love Island? Or did you even watch Love Island back then?
I didn't even watch Love Island back at all. So what I did watch actually was the full Monty. So I did the full Monty after Love Island.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, which was my first experience of watching myself back. But that was more of an emotional watch because
Okay.
it's about cancer, right? So
Sure.
for me, it was about cancer and the reasons why I did it. SAS, a bit different. I feel like I'm spectating this time.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually enjoying it like everyone else, as if I didn't even do it.
Are you have you been able to like see stuff ahead? Or are you like the rest of us, like Joe Blogs, watching episode 2 right now? Or do they give you access to see things ahead of time?
Now I'm like everyone.
Nice.
First episode, we watched
You'd already
it like,
seen?
Yeah.
twice. I think 2 premieres, and then the third time I watched with the family. But now I'm like, I'm looking forward to it. I'm thinking, which tasks are they gonna play? Looking at the trailers as well. I'm trying to suss out when are they going out? When 'cause I know roughly when everyone. Oh my God, I'm about to give away.
No, you can't.
When I come out by what I'm saying, but I kind of roughly know when everyone kind of comes out. Most of them. Anyway.
Yeah.
One thing I did notice that I wanted to bring up on the pod was there was a scene
She's asked me if she can ask this like 6 times.
No
I'm like,
way.
just go for it. But I don't want to look silly.
The boxing scene, okay,
Oh my
when you have to beat each other. Yeah, that. Now, the rain. There's a lot of rain in this season.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, to the point, I was like, their t-shirts don't look that wet. Is it CGI? Is
That's
the
a
rain?
good shout, actually. Do you know what? I didn't
she's
even pay
asking
attention
you,
to that.
is it CGI? Well, I was thinking that they had like a tarp over like where you were boxing.
fighting.
Were you
No.
actually out in the rain boxing?
Do you know when I watched it back, I was so surprised at how intact my hair was.
Yeah,
like,
because it looks like everyone's together almost, but a little bit of sweat, a little bit of rain, but
Yeah.
not the
And it is
amount that is
bucketing
coming
down behind you. So I don't know if there was like some kind of roof over you
No
guys
roof.
in that boxing arena.
no roof.
That
no
is
roof.
odd.
We're getting
then.
pissed on.
It cuts to like Arj at one point, and he stood out there in the pissing rain, but like his entire torso is dry, and we were just like, what's that about? And then she's like, do you think it's CGI? And I was like, I'm pretty sure the budget isn't that high for a reality show. Like, there should be no CGI.
Ask the question. I'll ask for you. I'll find out.
Yes,
Just
please do.
Asking for a friend.
Well, I mean, from our side of things, we've jumped the gun a little bit. Let's rewind a bit, right? And cast your mind back. 2021. Okay.
God.
I know that, this could be sore memories. This could be good memories. I'm sure that there's a lot of emotions that go into it. But from our point of view, the way that we would like to talk to you about this is perspective and objective. Two things that can tell people a lot about a person. And Love Island, when you went on it in 2021, the two questions we want to ask is, what was the perspective of the show from your side of things? How did you see the show? Because this is the 7th season when you're going into it. So you know the ins and outs of it. You probably know for the most part how it's shot. You know the repercussions of like everything that goes on in the villa and also what happens to people when they leave. So on the tail end of what your perspective of the show is, what was your kind of back of the mind objective? Because a lot of people that go in come out and they release a fitness app. They come out and they try to open a clothing line or like whatever it is. So there must have been, as well as the fact that you're going in there looking for love, of course, but going onto that show, you might also have a little idea in the back of like maybe a business idea.
It's an interesting one because this was all off the back of COVID as well.
Yeah.
So in terms of perspective, I kind of knew that I was just going to get a cheeky holiday whilst everyone was going to be stuck at home, to be honest. So
Fair enough.
Love that.
The simple things in life.
Do you know what? That was the main driver for me because with what I was doing at the time, I was working in finance.
Yeah.
So I'm stuck at home.
Senior
helping.
financial consultant at White Oak, people.
Yes. Oh,
who does
The
their
research.
research.
Not a joke. It is not a joke. But yeah, so we're working constantly as well as everyone else that's fighting the COVID pandemic. From our perspective, helping businesses with finance. The break for me was a good time at the time. From the perspective of business and what I'd get out of that side of it, I had no clue because I was of the mindset that I'd go back into work.
That was going to be a follow-up question of mine. Did you actually think you were going to go back to your senior financial consultant role?
I mean,
that was like the kind
that
of...
was the objective. The be-all and end-all was that I had a conversation with my director. If he had said, no, you're going to look like a tool, you're going to make us look like an idiot, you can't go on it.
And he said you were able to come back afterwards.
As long as I don't look like a dick. His words.
I mean, it's a fair point in some ways. Like, it's all up to kind of how you
We didn't watch
act.
it, did we? So that was
2021 season.
Yeah, we didn't watch 2021. So were you in from the beginning or did you come in halfway through?
12 days in.
I was a lovely bombshell, to be
You
fair. So I came in and just was supposed to fuck shit up. I don't know whether or not I did, because I haven't watched it. And the relationships, I feel like at the time wasn't really cemented when I came in. So
Okay.
I feel like in terms of who I was feeling, obviously my ex, I kind of was veered down that path, right?
So it is kind of, for a lot of people that are watching this may not be fully aware of how reality TV works, but scripted's the wrong word. Maybe guided is the kind of word. There seems to be a lot of input, especially on a show like that, when it's about love and it's about drama and things like that the production would get involved to a degree of steering the conversation in certain ways and poking the bear. Exactly.
It's a weird one because I've actually seen a lot of ex-Islanders talk about it being
Like
heavily scripted. And I'm like, I don't remember being scripted like that. So I'm like,
Do they at least place you in scenarios like you're going to sit over here with this person and just chat?
I can
Is it
see
like that?
where they were directing you because there's like this voice of God character that shouts down at Teddy to Beach Hut, which is this camera setup of you're talking to camera, there's a voice asking you questions.
Yeah. Like Big Brother, basically. Yeah,
pretty much like Big Brother setup. And I'm kind of wondering, why am I in here? He's just asking me how I am rather than asking me questions about the actual day. Yeah. So now that I look back at it, he needed to take me out of a situation where my ex, for example, is bitching about
talking
me to
about
someone
you.
else.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
So like, that's the kind of directorship I get.
Clever.
Yeah, I
They're
didn't
such
see it in that
bastards,
way.
aren't they?
At all.
God.
And there's one moment in Casa Amor where a predicament was thrown at me where it's like, flirt with this person, or you're going to be seen as boring. And then I have the decision to make as to whether or not
you're willing to do that
about everyone's perception.
Yeah.
I'm willing to do that despite how I feel about that person.
Wow. So it's like you're doing this for the sake of the show, not for the sake of your own feelings.
Yes.
Wow.
So if you have that devil on your shoulder, it's like your mate. You call up your mate and you say, I'm really thinking about texting this girl that I got a number with from last night. I don't know whether or not to do it.
Yeah.
And then they say, text her, just do it. That's the directors.
Yeah.
But if you're rebuttaling and you're like, no, I don't really want to do it, and you don't eventually do it, that's you, right? That's
So you still have the end decision, but it's like, if you don't kind of lean towards our way, we can pretty much either cut you out of the edit or kind of make you leave the show.
Exactly.
So play ball or see you later.
We're not going to be that interested. So it swings and roundabouts. I kind of get why people are saying it, that the ex-Islanders are saying that it's scripted, but in the same breath, I'm like, no one's got a gun to your head.
Yeah.
Like you can just sit there.
I love that though, that mentality though that you did. And also you got really far into it. You went down to the final 3 and then you came out and you didn't go back into accounting.
No.
Yeah, what was this? What happened?
Do you know what? I was constantly on the phone with work and it was bouncing around what the right time was. And they were super patient with me as well. They were like, look, kind of giving me advice on taking the opportunity because it's a once in a lifetime thing. You can come back into work. You're really great at what you do. You're a valued staff member, but this is your life at the end of the day. And and the advice he gave was, I'd be wrong to just, as much as I want you back and as much as your clients want you back, you really need to kind of see this for what it is. And at the end of the day, I kind of took I think about 2 months, you'd have to correct me if I'm wrong, roughly 2 months to make that decision, figure out what was going on, get my bearings, ultimately figure out what I wanted to do. The question you asked, what's my path? Do I want to do business? Do I want to talk about finance for the rest of my life from a social media point of view? Like, what is my angle?
Because that's so overwhelming, like coming out and then you've got all these followers finally and you're getting all these brand deals coming, being thrown at you. And then, do you want to go on this TV show, that TV? And you're like, oh my God. Like,
what was that like? So
how did that feel?
You come third in the villa and you're thrust into fame. Yeah. Essentially, you're thrust into the public eye, let's say.
Quite literally.
Yeah. What's the most overwhelming thing? Like for you initially, you come out of it and then is it just suddenly your phone's just lit up with questions or, newspaper articles or people trying to find out about your relationship? Like what's the most overwhelming part of it?
I think it's figuring out what you want to do. I mean, I'm at the time 26, 27. Could you say you really know what you want to do in life at that age? You're still kind of figuring things out, right? And when you get thrusted with, I think I was thrusted. I don't like the way that came out.
Released.
Yeah. When you go into, I went into it with 1,500 followers or so. Come out with almost 1 million, and I'm like, oh, Jesus! Like I now need to
monetize this.
There's a lot of people looking at me, and there's
also mental health. That was another question that I had because when his TikTok blew up, and then we started getting loads of followers through there, I was like, oh my God, the comments. What do I do, right? Do I reply? Do I just sit on it?
She reads the comments. I just don't even read them.
Yeah, you have to. It's so hard to not read them, especially if it's so new to you, to not even like pay attention to it, or it's something that isn't true, and you just want to be like, this is not true. The press that's coming through with you as well, or something you're in this new relationship and you're being thrusted into all these storylines in your real life. It's not Love Island anymore, it's your real life, and that's playing with your feelings and your emotion and mental health. So was that quite hard to navigate at the beginning?
Definitely. I remember there was a lot of pressure at the time because my family was managing my social media account. So in my mind, when you see such a growth from 1,500 to 1 million, my mind was telling me, can I do it in the same way that my brothers have managed my life in a weird way? Can I live up to that expectation? So for a while I was wrestling with, is this content that I'm putting out the same thing as what all these people have been seeing whilst I didn't have my phone? Because as much as my brother know me, I'm not my brother. He's doing a little take on what he thinks people will enjoy based off me. And I'm like, Am I doing the same thing? Am I keeping up with that? And I think eventually, after speaking to the therapist, reminding myself that I am me. It's my life at the end of the day. It's just what people's snippets are of whatever ITV put out or whatever I'm involved with puts out, right? So I think I've settled with the fact that provided that I'm moving with good intentions and I'm just, being me, whatever comes off the back of that, I reap the rewards, or I kind of deal with it.
We're just very quickly going to stop you right here because we want to say thank you so much to everyone who is currently watching, sharing this podcast. We really appreciate all of your support because we really try very hard and we love the studio space that we're in right now. And we really want to continue to expand this podcast and build it so that we can get bigger, better, and more guests on this podcast. Right, Jamie?
Yes, please share with your cat, your dog, your mum, your dad, and your grandmother.
Okay, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
But,
The cat's going to love it.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
Definitely. But with that being said, we're going to go back to the episode with Teddy. So coming out of a show like Love Island, obviously a lot of people are trying to hankering and to get your attention, but also trying to cultivate some sort of biography of you as a person that they can share on the internet and try and get clicks and things like that. Basically, try and piggyback the following that you've cultivated while you've been on the show. So we would like to play a little bit of a game with you called Did the Internet Get It Right?
Oh,
so
dun, dun, dun.
we have 4 statements that have been made on the internet about you, and I want to see if these are in fact correct. Because,
This is
internet,
interesting.
like websites make shit up. Let's
Yeah,
be honest.
they do.
They just go, apparently my net worth is £1 million.
Well, you know
On
what?
famousbirthdays.com. Not even famous.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You can edit your Wikipedia, which
You
is
can edit
mad.
your own as well.
I did not
could
know
put
that.
$1
You're
million.
joking.
Yeah, you can edit somebody's Wikipedia.
I need to edit.
But
my
coming off the back of that
birthday.
comment, this isn't from Wikipedia. These are from random websites like gossip columns, things like that. Don't worry, they're not horrendous. We'll start off easy. Were you born in Madrid, Spain?
I was.
There you go. That's the first
How
one.
exotic.
Yeah.
That's very nice. Look, you
Lovely.
speak Spanish.
I used to be able to speak it very fluently. Now
Nice.
I'm just like, bleh.
Yeah.
How long were you there
maybe.
for?
Probably until I was about 2, and then spent some time
okay.
in Portugal, but mainly grew up in.
Do your
in the
family
UK.
speak Spanish at all? As in, which parent was from Spain? Which of your parents?
My mother was actually from Spain.
Okay.
But
So she's fluent, I imagine, and with her side of the family. But she doesn't speak English to you guys.
So I've got a stepmother, actually.
Oh, okay.
Who I have the relationship with. She's Portuguese, but my actual birth mother is Spanish.
Okay.
Lovely.
All right, we're going to come back to that. That's interesting. This could be one that's going to throw you under the bus right now. Are you approximately 6 foot? Is this a generous 6 foot? Go on, Teddy, you can
Depends
tell
on
us.
who I'm speaking to.
What dating website
A
he's
hot
on?
blonde in a club right now. You're 6'2", right?
Yeah, and I'm like, what are those hills? Are they okay, yeah, but no, I'm actually just 6 foot. I'm 6 foot.
Just
Yeah,
6
there you
foot.
are. There you go.
He's
Yeah,
5'7",
there you go.
guys. Isn't he? Those are heel lifts, aren't
Depends
they?
on the shoes I'm wearing.
Fair play. All right. This is another. Okay, you want to read that one?
Yeah, okay. So, this one's really personal.
It
Go
could
on,
be,
go on,
but
hit me with
also I want
personal.
to see what his reaction will be to
Oh my
hearing
God.
it.
Okay, so somewhere on the internet, it said, is your net worth 500,000? I think that's really personal. You don't need to answer that.
Says you have a net worth of 500k. If that's actually accurate, I would be like thumbs up to that person because almost all of those figures on websites like
Yeah.
this are completely fabricated. So fair play.
It is fabricated. I was like rolling my eyes thinking, where the hell could that have come from?
Where does it come from?
They literally just make up a number. They honestly make a number up. Like mine's apparently 1 million. And do you know what else is in the bio? Barney Banks has a brother called Ollie. Yeah. He has 30,000 Instagram followers and a net worth of 1 million. Who has a net worth of 1 million with 30,000 followers on Instagram, by the way?
No, but I mean,
No one.
loads of people have millionaires with no Instagram followers, Barney.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they're basing it
Yeah,
off
true.
the fact that I have 30,000 followers. That's what the website was doing.
It's just really odd. And then there was
Stupid.
another one, which is actually, I'm really, really
That's the
happy
case.
about
He should be a
this.
billionaire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
legit. And I'm just worried. I'm hoping that none of no wonder some of my family members was like,
Can you help me out here?
friends I've never really heard of before. And I'm like, what? We
Hey
went to
man,
school
I'm in a
together?
predicament.
They're reading the same things we are on these gossip columns. What is going on? But there's another one, and it's quite interesting because I worked at the same store.
Oh, you're jumping the gun.
I
Yeah. Go
know.
on.
It's Abercrombie and Fitch, which
In
I'm like, yes, he was at
2000
Abercrombie.
days. Oh
In
my God.
2011, did you work at Abercrombie and Fitch?
Was it 2011?
That's the year before I
It's actually
graduated
around
uni.
that time. It is around
Really?
that time. Yes.
So you did work there?
I did definitely
Second
work
question, were you a topless man outside the front door?
there. Oh my God. I was at the front door, but not topless.
Okay.
No,
So
no.
you did way after me. I was 2000 and...
About to show your age.
Shut up. 2000 and I think the first year Abercrombie came out, and I think it was 2008. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Could have been
2000 and what?
2008,
Eight.
I think. I think.
I was 17 years old at school, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking, what was I doing?
Yeah. How old are you now?
I'm 28.
28. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm 35.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to have what's she having?
Yeah, mate, the laundry
Lord.
list of
Mate, I'm getting
ingredients.
he's getting his eyes done later.
Oh my!
for the
I
first
can't
time.
believe I'm being roped into this. She wants me to get my eyes injected.
No, it's like with this Lumix thing. So
Yeah,
it's
Oh,
basically
mate,
makes
gets
your
rid of
eyes
bags.
brighter.
Basically, gets rid of your eye bags. Like if you have eye bags, it just gets
Okay.
rid of them. Like it's like this weird. I don't know. It looks like they're almost injecting Botox into the
No, it's not
underneath your
Botox.
eye.
It's basically hydraulic.
Hyaluronic acid.
Hyaluronic.
She keeps saying hydraulic acid like it's going to melt my face. You're going to just get hydraulic acid pumped into your eyes, babe. It's fine. I'm like,
Don't do that.
But it makes it bright, and like obviously a lot of water and Botox. But yeah, that's why. So I was there when I was 19. I left school and went straight into Abercrombie, and it must have been so different later because I think they were breaking a lot of rules back then.
Oh yes. Yeah.
So there was things that I can't even talk about now because it's just like quite illegal. But yeah, there was, and then they moved me over to Hollister when we opened all the Hollister stores. So I did it for about 3 or 4 years.
So were you a manager? Or
No, I wasn't a manager. No,
Oh,
you had to
okay.
you had to have a degree to be a manager. And I was in musical theatre, so I was just like,
Abercrombie, stop pretending like you're like Harrods.
you
like,
need to-
you need a degree to tell people how to fold clothes.
which is
okay?
crazy. But then because we were I was really good on the cash wrap. I do the cashier stuff, but they'd stick me on the rail because I had too much energy.
Really?
They then moved me to Hollister in Brent Cross to open that up and teach the kids there. So I was basically
God.
working like a manager without the paycheck
Ready,
because
babe?
it was like £25 a day. Great.
Yeah, it was good cash, and the
Yeah.
parties. I enjoyed the parties. That was really why
Okay.
I worked there.
You had yeah.
Did you have the cards?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I'm like-
card! We found another one! No! I
were great.
leaned into her when I found out about the cards. She was
You'd
like,
whip it
"I have
out at the
Abercrombie
door
card."
and they'd let you in.
Legit.
And you'd be like,
Mate.
okay, let's do this.
An Abercrombie card used to get you into nightclubs, boys.
Yeah.
An Abercrombie card.
And the thing
I work
is,
here.
I think for a good 3 years after, I kept the card for that reason. When I
case.
quit, I'm like, do you know what?
Yeah.
This benefited me for a good moment of my life, so I'm not gonna bin it.
You know
Wow.
what my friend used to
Okay.
do? He used to sell the clothes that he'd go in and get his new clothes, and then he'd sell them and say, "Hey, they're Abercrombie model clothes and like exclusive." Sell them for double the price, and
my
then go
God.
back in and go, "I've lost my clothes." They'd give him new clothes
That's
to wear
genius.
for the shift.
To be fair,
Guess who was that?
he's a very wealthy business owner now.
That's-
They're gonna sue him now.
No, they're not going to sue him. He owns two of the
clothes.
biggest nightclubs now in London for that reason
he
because
did
he's
well.
Trying to give him
brilliant.
their home
Yeah,
dress,
well.
his home dress as well. Like Jesus.
We'll cut his name out, guys. Beep that one out.
Wow. All
A couple of
right.
years later, you're like, why didn't I do that?
Yeah.
How did you find the experience of working at Abercrombie anyway, though? Like, did you enjoy it? Like, was it a bit of fun? Like, obviously,
for
you're
what it
younger, you're
was-
having a laugh.
For what it was,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Like it was retail, but you're
Yeah.
gonna enjoy it as much as you can. The only thing that was a bit iffy was the stuff that was going on behind closed doors, where I was like,
Yeah, a bit like shady managerial status or like
Yeah,
owners. Like,
yeah.
I mean, we've all seen it on Netflix. If you haven't seen it already, there's an
Yeah.
Abercrombie
But
documentary
back
out there
then,
showing
we
how
didn't-
sketchy it was.
You didn't know any of the, like, there was no negative press when I was there. Because
No.
it, right at the beginning, when Ashton Kutcher was bloody modelling for it as
It was
well.
also like normalized back then as well. It was like, oh, they're so exclusive that, and now it's seen as like, you know, you're excluding certain types of people from being able to even shop at your store, let alone work in your store.
yeah. The
So-
awareness is so different nowadays
Yeah.
as well. Like, I mean, 16 to 18, you're so clueless about what a workplace should even be like professionally, right? So if someone's doing something, you just think it's the norm at that age.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think ignorance was bliss back then.
Yeah, for
Put it
sure.
that way.
let's fast forward. Current day, SAS.
Yes.
Who
Yes.
Dares Wins. Loads of my mates, by the way, absolutely love this show.
Oh, nice.
I love it. We've been watching it last night. How much of it did you watch last night?
Oh, I fell asleep.
Yes, you did.
I did. I fell asleep. I know. I'm so sorry.
It's just honestly, it's not a show thing.
No, but
Honestly,
he'd
she
never
falls asleep
seen it.
every day in front of the TV.
He'd
Like
never
it's just
seen
bosh.
it. And also, I knew about SAS. You'd never experienced that. I did a
What do you mean I've never experienced
with
it?
Ollie Ollerton. So I've known
She
about
did.
it for a
She
while.
actually did a
really? Oh,
podcast.
okay.
She managed a pod that had him on, and it was a really interesting show as
He's
well.
been
that
on
one.
twice. It's called Take Flight, that podcast. But it's he's really interesting. He did ayahuasca, and it opened his mind up and helped him recover from a lot of stuff he'd
What
done
is
in the past.
what is?
Oh, it's like, do you know what
ayahuasca?
DMT is?
Oh, okay.
It's like a bit like that, a herbal version of DMT,
okay,
basically.
okay.
It's like a 6-hour trip of like you are supposed to
Mushrooms
face
and
your
stuff.
it's stronger. So it's supposed
okay.
to like make you face your demons and all this kind of stuff. But when you go into a show like SAS Who Dares Wins, let's even talk about the inception of this idea.
Yeah.
You apply to be on it, or you're recommended to be on it.
Mm-hmm.
You find out you're going to be on it. What's your first thought? Shit, I need to go to the gym.
Oh, legit. And,
Yeah.
and my gym routine usually consists of hard hitting, just short,
Weights.
sharp stuff. Like it's not.
You need cardio for
yeah,
SAS,
it's
right?
like in my mind, I'm like, how am I supposed to transform myself into like a Mo Farah when I'm like, I know how big I am, right? Sure.
Yeah.
And the fitness side of it was worrying, and also I can't swim. So for me, I was like, my first question is how am I? You want me to go on the show? How am I supposed to survive the water?
Of course. Did you have to learn to swim?
No.
It rains like every day in the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
That's something you were like, shit, it's the sea level's rising. I'm gonna have to
How
start
are we gonna
swimming.
get here? Like, you know, I need
Especially
to be
when
able
you have to go
stand
from
in
like
this
your little
shit.
camp thing, go to the other side of the building, and it's like
It's literally like knee high
walking
at one
through
point.
the river.
I'm not joking. There was fish swimming in our camp.
Wow.
Like it was that high. But
It's in
Vietnam, I've got to
Vietnam,
say,
right? Yeah.
beautiful location.
That's mad.
And I think that took away from a little bit of the anxiety of, oh my God, I'm doing SAS, because it was just so picturesque. And I think it was
Yeah.
just a distraction for you to be like, oh, I'm in the jungle right now.
Yeah.
Wow. And then someone shouting at you like, fucking do this. And, like, it's
Don't make
mad.
any noises. Get down and give me 20. I did one thing that obviously is never mentioned in this show or anything like that. Just as a side note, for me, it's just kind of put my mind into it because of humidity and you're in the jungle in the middle of Vietnam. Were mosquitoes a big issue?
Oh my God, it was the least of my issues.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
I just thought, like,
that.
I imagine some people must have just been eaten alive by mosquitoes because you're literally in the jungle. It's rainy season, so it's so humid.
Yes.
So it must have been.
It was epic. The thing that I had to contend with was every single night with the doors was open, wide open. Bats would fly in every single
way.
night
No.
without fail. So me and Jermaine could not sleep. At one point, we're just looking at each other like, did you see how low that bat was to our heads? Like it's literally just flying wherever the light was. No, to avoid the light.
to avoid the light,
Yeah.
So it's just darting around this light in and around
literally
us.
above your heads while you're sleeping.
And most people in the room are snoring, and me and Jermaine are like, is everyone serious
So you
right
must
now?
be in
Like,
sleep for like however long how long were you there for? Well, okay,
Oh,
don't
shit.
answer
No,
that.
I can't.
How long is the stint of the whole show? Like, how long could it have been? As in, whoever gets to the end, how long is that? Is that 6 weeks? Is it a month? Is it-
not as. It's about. I'm allowed to say it. I'm gonna say it. Fuck it. We have a quarantine period, so
Okay.
we had that quarantine period to acclimatize to things like the humidity and the terrain and everything. And then it's about 5. I want to say 5 to 9 days,
Okay.
roughly. Yeah, give or take.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
give or
So it's
take.
like so it's not
So
a
it's
huge. So
quite-
you do a lot. It's intense. Like
It's
every day,
intense.
bang bang.
And turnaround of like people coming and going really fast as well. That must be quite. You're just starting to get used to people, and then they leave.
It's a hi bye situation. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's like hi bye. Like,
Wow.
it's just as quick as that because. Yeah, you can't obviously predict when someone's gonna go because everyone's pretty much trained for this. Everyone's got the call. Channel 4, to be fair to them, the team are very clever because they pretty much tell you at the last minute that you're gonna be doing the show. So
Yeah.
you don't really get that much time to train for it.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
Luckily, I gym generally 3, 4, 5 days a week, depending on schedules. But I can imagine that with everyone in the show is kind of thinking, look, we're all going to be here as long as we think we're going to be here. We're not going to, we're not going to assume that that person's going to go tomorrow. It's just impossible. You just focus on what you need to do and just focus on the fact that Chris Foxy is screaming the hell out of you right now, and you don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to be the next person to be told you fucked up, so everyone else
has to do stuff.
Right?
Yeah,
that's the hard part.
Yeah,
Was there any, because obviously we just watched the second episode, and can I say this right now? Because
it's out there, so I feel like it's already been out there. If you haven't watched it, then
who was the person that left? She decided she didn't want to do it anymore and she left.
The first person to leave is actually someone who willfully just goes, actually, I'm out. And it was after the tear gas. The lady who was on Hollyoaks, the actress, Kirsty Lynn Carter, is that her name? Yeah.
So she kind of like, but was there any time where you were just like, I can't do this? Even at the
there's
beginning?
loads of times. Honestly, I said
every
earlier,
day.
asthmatic. So every time I picked up the blue inhaler, I'm like, look, buddy, we might as well just leave. I'm I'm going to spray this twice so I can walk out of here.
Because there's obviously a lot of cardio as well, and it's humid, so you must have to have that inhaler all the time.
I was shocked at how constant it was.
Yeah.
Because I thought to myself, obviously coming off the back of Love Island, you have voice of God at some point telling you, go to bed. At some point, I thought, right, we've just done this. Arj just fucked up. We're gonna get a break, right?
Every day, Arj fucks up. Put your belt on, mate.
I'm like, okay, we're gonna do these press ups and go to bed. No, it just doesn't. It doesn't get like
just
that
keeps
at
going.
all. Honestly, I remember there was one point, went to sleep, and it felt like I put my head for 2 minutes and the whole thing's just going nuts and crazy, and I'm like, I need to sleep.
when you initially, obviously we spoke about like the fitness side of things. When you initially find out, you said it's very last minute. Channel 4 go like, you're on the show, you're leaving tomorrow, or whatever it is. When you get told you're going to be on the show, I imagine there is a level of psyching yourself up, of going, right, this is how it's going to be. This is how I'm going to behave. This is how I feel like it's going to go. And I imagine when you get there, that all goes out the window. Because do they just hit you straight away with this is what we're doing? I'm not going to lie. First episode, the heights thing, I feel like I'd have gone straight away. I am so shit scared of heights. But then again, if I had two angry hench blokes screaming at me, I feel like I would do it. But
that's the balance. And the thing is, Billy, bless him, he's like
Billingham, is that his name?
Billingham, yeah.
Billingham,
and the thing is, I remember my perception before I went in the show of Mr. Billingham. I honestly thought, okay, this is going to be easy because actually it's no offense, Billingham, an old man just screaming at me. That's what was in my head when I first went in.
You're going to see him in your dreams.
Really, I'm going to get a phone call. Really?
Old man.
20 press ups now. And I'll do it whilst I'm on the phone.
That's right.
Give me a minute. Let me put you on loudspeaker.
Sorry, Billy.
But yeah, so that was, I took a lax perception because I was used to being disciplined as a kid.
Sure.
And in my mind, I thought I'd be able to handle that. When I got up to that ramp, bear in mind, I don't like roller coasters, never been to Thorpe Park, Alton Towers, nothing like that at all. It's just not, bumper cars are my thing, not being up at a height that I could potentially die. So when I went up there and he was just, I looked at him, I looked at the ramp and I thought, which one am I more scared of, him or the ramp?
There you go.
And I thought him, just in case he might just shove me off. So I was like, look, let me just crack on. And that most of the time, that was my mindset. If he screams at me, how am I going to react?
The thing is you watch it, he's screaming at you, right? And there's me watching this TV show in my comfort of my living room. And I'm thinking to myself, I would just shout back. My Aries self, because I'm fire. I knew I were an Aries or a 2, right? See, we know this.
Yeah.
We just want to just go, don't fucking speak to me like that.
Yeah, wow, you sure?
Are you okay? Don't speak to me like that. But then you just literally can't because they will punish you in there.
Yeah.
And that's
But
the
not
problem.
only that, they punish everyone else.
And
that's way worse.
Yeah.
If you're the
Which
reason
poor-
why other people are punished. Because if you're like, I can take the punishment, I can take 20 press ups, I can do 50 crunches, whatever it is. But if your friends who are like your comrades are being punished for your behavior and you're standing there and they make you tell them to hurry up, like Arj did in episode 2, I think.
That moment.
That's horrible. That must be so deepeningly horrible. Because do you know why that the like DSs and that, do you know why they shout at you? Like,
No,
so
what's the
why
science
they're so
behind it?
like verbally
Aggressive.
abusive and stuff? Originally, way back, I think like World War I, stuff like that, it was a way that to force people to get out of the trenches and move forward, because you were more scared of the repercussions of turning around and saying no than going forward and facing the enemy. So they make it so that you're more scared of your sergeant than you are of the enemy.
Trauma,
so
basically, trauma.
Wow.
Essentially, yeah. So they're like screaming at you, dunking your head in water, spraying you down, making you do press ups, because you know that if they go charge and you don't charge, you're in deeper shit than it would be if you were to run into like enemy fire.
It makes sense because there was a moment where, and I think they actually played it they did in episode 2, and it was actually the first day. Again, DS Billingham, he shouts at everyone and says, "Forget about the weather, forget about the terrain, positive mindset." And he's shouting this out: "Do you want to be here? Do you want to be here?" Automatically, the psychology of it in my head was telling me, "Yeah, I do want to be here." Fuck the weather. So all the things that he's saying and shouting, I'm agreeing with him. And 9 times out of 10, if it was outside of that environment, if someone's shouting at you and saying this to you, like, yeah, he's nuts, and just walk away.
Yeah.
Right? But in that environment, for some reason, the way they're projecting their voice and the way that they are literally looking at you like they're going to kill you is kind of reinforcing, reassuring. It's weird, but
Weird,
it
right?
happens.
Really,
Yeah, it really
I bet
does
you were
happen.
kind of thinking at that moment in time, this is very different to Love Island right now.
When the first time I went to the
Get
toilet,
me to Castle more right
Yeah.
now.
the first time I took a shit in there, I was like,
Wow.
this is not what I expected in Vietnam.
Was it like a hole in the floor?
was
Because
it?
you
Yeah.
get that at restaurants
Legit
in
a squat
Vietnam.
hole.
It was like this wood. It's like wood with a hole.
Yeah, that's the
put
thing.
together. Like
That's
it was
it.
just, it was nuts.
Wow.
But that's normal over there. It's
Yes.
literally he's got a job in Thailand, and he was very much like, "Oh yeah, I'll bring you along." And I was thinking to myself, I think I'm too old to hit shit in a hole now.
I think I've passed this point now. I don't think that shitting in a hole is the idea
Because
of,
it's every restaurant.
of a
It's
holiday for
hard.
me. So
it was hard.
there's quite a brutal openings, like first couple of sequences in the first episode of SAS where you guys have to box each other.
Yeah,
Now,
milling.
when
We had to mill the
milling.
yes,
Sorry, it's
milling.
not boxing. It's just battering
Milling,
each other.
yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
just go swing for the fences.
Oh.
So you're stood in a group.
Yeah.
And when the sergeant goes right and starts pairing you up, is your first thought like, please don't partner me against Gareth Thomas. That guy's a unit. He's a fridge. Is that basically what's going through your mind when they're doing the choosing process?
I didn't want to be partnered up with a female, I'll be honest.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what we were saying. Because poor Arch, he was like,
that's harsh,
I do not want to fight. And you could
Yeah.
see he was just like
He's just avoiding her,
dodging
basically,
the
yeah.
whole time.
I mean,
Because
like,
the milling, you're supposed to be, like he said, toe to toe.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to back off
No.
at all.
go
So
in,
Right.
yeah.
your mindset when he's describing what milling is, I had never heard of what milling. I know boxing like you, to be honest. So your thoughts my thoughts was, I'd rather be up against Gareth Thomas than be
Yeah, a Melinda Messenger or something. Do you know what I mean?
like
5'1" and
yeah. Can you imagine like me just knocking?
Oh my god, you can't even say it.
I pictured it for a moment, and I'm like, no, even that I felt guilty. Like Jesus.
Yeah, even saying it.
Yeah, like it just can't. It can't happen.
Yeah.
So I was worried about that.
So you got Gareth Gates.
Gareth Gates.
That
Yeah.
you landed a smashing right hook. I've got to say, and it's in shot. It's cut down to like 120 frames a second, so you just see you lean off and bosh.
Do you know
Did
what?
that feel good?
For 24, 48 hours, I was a bit pathetic with it. I was watching Gareth's Instagram just to double check whether or not he might say he won. So I was like,
did he win?
No, I won.
Okay, you can't, he can't bollocks his
So
way out of that.
I was
No
being
way.
really petty, and I was like, what's Gareth put on today?
Yeah, just checking it in.
Just
Oh my
checking. But yeah, it was a good fight. It was a really good fight. The one that I was really looking forward to, though, when he did say milling, was who Matt was going to fight.
I know.
Yes.
That,
It's a big deal, right? He's there.
throughout the entire process, I really wanted to see what he was made of.
Sure.
I was really curious about that, more so than why is he here? Because you know what everyone's going to get put through, basically.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of accountability, let's call it.
Massively.
that I would have thought that the DS was going to embark on him. So I was really curious about who he was going to fight. And I genuinely thought they were going to pit him against Gareth Thomas.
Oh my God,
I
imagine.
genuinely thought that was going to be the case. But
I bet he thought that as well.
Yeah,
though.
he's
I bet
like,
he was
oh God.
I think they missed a trick there. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I
Big
really
time.
did.
I mean, for those of you who are watching who are unaware, Matt Hancock, the health secretary during COVID, who basically shafted everyone, let's be honest,
Yeah.
and didn't behave very well. He's also on SAS Who Dares Wins with you as well. Now, perspectives. All I've got to say as well, third episode, we've seen teasers of it, but it's
Yeah.
not released at this point when we're recording this podcast. But you flip him
Yeah.
and he lands on his ribs on the
Yeah.
side.
Wow.
Does he get injured with
He
that? 'Cause-
claims I broke his ribs.
No, he didn't.
he
Good
claimed-
man. Let's go.
Yeah, he
Did he
claims I
actually?
Yeah.
He's
Honestly.
lying. He's lying.
I think he did a scan,
it
to be
looked
honest.
hard.
But I'll let him verify this. But I'm 99% sure that he did a scan and it was that he actually...
There was an injury.
Yeah. He injured
You know
himself.
what's one of the funniest things that I watched yesterday when I was awake, bearing in mind because I fall asleep to everything, was James Arge asking him, being like, "Oh, so what party do you run?"
Yeah, he's like
And I'm just like,
conservative.
How was he even there in COVID? Because that was such a
What
big
was he
freaking
doing? Like,
storyline. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was funny. And
He
even
doesn't
the
pay
Boris
attention.
question killed me.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
know. What's Boris going to think? He's like, I don't talk to it. I don't know.
and do you know what? That was, I think, to put Matt into context, that was the way he was throughout the series. It was a shield, and you didn't really get to know, because I'm sure he knows what Boris would have thought. He knows that Boris would either thought he was a dick or whatever, but he doesn't want to obviously put that out there, which makes sense. I understand it politically. I get it. But I was hoping for a bit more
Coming
of
out of his shell.
Yeah.
How do you now feel about him? Have your opinions completely shifted from when you went in to now coming out of it, or did you really not interact with him that much?
No, there was a lot of interaction. I'll be honest, because he was right next to me.
Wow.
Well, I had
Like
Siva.
bunks?
Yeah, pretty much right there. Like we were one end and everyone else was the other. So it was me, Siva, Matt, and a load of other people around us.
Yeah.
But we were really close. So a lot of conversations. So for me, I think it's more of a we've been in the trenches together mentality, that we're good acquaintances, but I wouldn't say I'm his best friend, if that makes
Sure.
sense.
No, of course.
It's just that we went through something fucking shit together. So it's kind of, it's a weird one. Before I didn't really have a perception of Matt other than my mum. My mum's a nurse, so my mum would often
Oh, of course.
kind
Yeah.
of put our frustrations out into the world and us, and tell us how bad of a man he is. But I think the focus for me, and when I came out, was right, I'm in pain, I need to recover. So every 2 minutes that I got to sit down, rest, everyone else was pretty much the same, but that was it. Let me just get my mind right, reset, and go again, because this is literally going to happen. And I got into that routine the further and further I went. So yeah, me and Matt,
Besties for life.
because I was entertained when I saw him. When I saw him, I was like, bro, like, fair play to you.
Aside from yourself being within this show, aside from yourself, who were you rooting for the most out of all the people that you were on the show with? Because from a TV perspective, we kind of know who we're rooting for, given how the show is edited.
Who are you rooting for?
Probably Gareth Thomas is probably up there because
Not me. Thank
you as
very
well.
much.
Shut up. Of
Thank
course
you.
it's you. Of course it's you. I actually am intrigued to see if Michelle Keegan can get the DS to stop hating her. She
my
keeps messing up.
Do you know what? I was going to say Michelle was initially who I was rooting for, because when I know her story, so and grew up on some of her music. Obviously, she was there during our time, right? So it's like, not to say I was listening to her.
Liberty X, mate, you're all over that.
I will never admit that, even if I was.
Liberty X, that was amazing back in the day.
Well, you know, they had a hit, I think. They did well, you know.
No, but there was some tunes where I was like, okay. When the boys were separated, one side girls on the other side of the room, I was enjoying it. I was enjoying her tunes. But yeah, so I was rooting for her because of her story, what I know she's been through.
Sure.
And I'm just like, yeah, go on. Because it takes a lot of mental toughness, as well as all the physical stuff is fine. But the mental toughness to be screamed at And I know she's sober for 2 years. Again,
Yeah.
please,
Wow.
someone
Sure.
comment, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's sober for 2 years. And she went through a lot. So for me, I was like, yeah, this is, it could be an underdog.
Yeah.
And
Cool, Michelle.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
Let's
go.
go. What would you say is like the biggest lesson that you learned going on SAS? Do you feel like, what have you learned about yourself, or what's the biggest lesson that you've learned?
Would you do it again as well? That's another
I
one.
actually would.
Yeah.
I actually would. Just different terrain. I'd love to.
Snow.
Snow. Honestly,
Cool.
I would love to do a snow version. Yeah, but I think the biggest thing I learned would probably be the resilience side of me, and not caring about what anyone thinks about whatever I do. It's just I'm just undefeated. That mindset.
That's what you learn.
Yeah, because there's a lot of, even the first scene where they push you into the water. Again, we had no idea because we're just sat there with hoods. You don't even know where everyone's going. You can just hear footsteps and everyone kind of being dragged out because it's little like,
Yeah.
where am I going kind of thing, and you can't see, you can't kind of understand your bearings. So that moment where they pushed me into the water and I'm swimming, I'm like, geez, I'm doing this. Okay, guys, I was wearing a buoyancy.
Yes.
But-
Best
I was like, he didn't swim. He can't swim. What's going on?
Yeah.
He had a life vest on.
Yeah, I had a life jacket on, granted.
that.
But in my head, which is what is most important, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing this.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm
Did you
achieving
still have a
this.
bit of a meltdown though when you hit the water? Because this must be still quite a shock to the system for you if you can't swim and you still hit the water, even if you've got a life vest on.
Yeah, and I'm a man of hygiene as well. So I'm like, he's just thrown me into swamp.
Dirty river. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a river.
Yeah, so I'm like, there's loads going through my mind at that time. But the first thing is don't panic, get there, try, and don't die. So that for me, the idea that I can for a lot of things was what I came out of it feeling like I'm a superhero. I can literally just do anything I want.
I love that.
Sick.
Before it was, especially the question you guys asked me earlier, coming out of Love Island, the villa, and not really knowing what you want to do whilst you are getting loads of opinions thrown at you, what you should do this, you should do that, oh, you'd be great at this, you'd be great at that. It's kind of hard to navigate that, and you start to eventually try and seek validation from, I don't know, management, family, friends. So there was a lot of things that was lost in my head. When I went on the show and doing loads of things that I never even dreamed were possible, was a real mind shift for me. And I genuinely think that when a lot of the cast members and people that have done it before say, this has changed my life, at first I was like, yeah, get out of here. This is just for TV. I've genuinely gone through the process, and I can validate that is the case. You can't go through, me and Siva, we still talk to today, and we often say you can't go through something like SAS and not change in some way, shape or form. Sometimes even negatively, because I know that it
Has affected some people.
Yeah, there's a lot of PTSD when you come out. When I came
imagine.
out, the first time I heard my iPhone alarm, I thought I was about to go back into the trenches. I was like, I gotta get up and I need to put my clothes on quick, and I was like, oh shit, no, I'm in the UK.
Yeah.
Like
that
it's-
is PTSD.
Wow, that
It's
is
a
legit.
soft form of it.
Literally.
Teddy.
Well, we have a game.
wanna,
Do you want to play a game?
Let's play a game.
Fuck, marry, kill, Teddy.
Yes.
Let's do a fuck, marry, kill very quickly, because we need to talk to you about the parenting stuff. This is a parenting podcast
It
after
is.
all.
I mean, we
We'll fly through it. We'll fly through it. We don't have long. We don't have long.
I was the little one.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
you know,
I mean,
please.
Rocket, he's
Yes,
always great.
Rocket,
Obviously,
please.
he's always great. Amber Turner, Melinda Messenger, and go on, give me a third one.
Is it Georgia, the girl from? She was on Love Island as well. Georgia.
Montana Brown?
Montana?
Brown?
Not Montana.
She's on it.
No,
Danielle
the other one.
Lloyd.
The one with the blonde hair.
That's Amber Turner.
Amber Turner.
I've said her
I
name.
know you said her name.
Yeah.
Could you tell she fell asleep in the episode?
Guys, stop being mean to me. It's always every
Amber
episode.
Turner. Let's go with Melinda Messenger, and let's go with Danielle Lloyd. Fuck, marry, kill.
Yeah.
SAS edition.
Giving me a conundrum.
Conundrum.
Who do I kill?
I love that he's going in with that one.
Yeah, who do I kill first?
Who do I bit off?
Then I can
Right, I'm gonna marry Melinda. 'Cause she's
what a
such a
ledge.
sweetheart.
I watched you on Fort Boyard, Melinda. Loved you.
Yeah,
You know,
she's
when
fit.
I know you guys would have seen her VT Crystals came out. Generally, she's really spiritual. Like,
Oh,
She-
sick.
I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
know.
she brought it out. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
she's a real spiritual person.
Did she bring them on?
No.
She takes them out of her
it's
pocket on episode
actually
1.
in SAS when you're actually in
Oh,
the
okay.
Yeah, because we
camp.
get this little chest.
I'm sensing.
Yeah, I thought you'd get like a home kit. You know, like in I'm a Celebrity, you get a few items. You can take like 3 items with you or something.
Yeah.
I thought she'd take her
that should be
crystals.
next to you.
No. It's
celeb.
like inhaler, maybe deodorant.
Oh my God, you're not even allowed. Hold on. You're not
love
even
that.
allowed deodorant, or is that has to be one of your items?
No, I think I had a roll-on. I'm sure I had a roll-on in there. So it's like, you get
gosh.
some things like that, but
Yeah.
it's nothing glamorous at all. And I think I'm gonna do this really quickly. So I'll kill Danielle, maybe fuck Emma Turner. I play around with that, I'll be honest.
Oh my goodness. Right. We do have a tradition on this podcast where we talk about something called TikTok turnoffs or
Okay.
social media turnoffs. We can just relay it on like that. But something that we've seen on social media in the past week that we just absolutely hate. It could be a trend. It could be something that has just rubbed you up the wrong way about social media since day one. Some of the examples that we've given in the past are people who are like over confrontational when they approach someone in the street and start either asking them questions or saying like, yeah, I can film you and what kind of
Yeah.
thing. Or it could just be Karens in your comments that are messaging you about certain things in your life that you just think,
Which is
leave it
always
out.
one.
There's always one.
I don't like that.
So what's your biggest TikTok turn off?
Do you know what? I'm kind of a nerd, guys. So I
love that.
I watch a lot of anime, right? And on social media, there is a massive thing of people. It's great visually. Graphics are amazing, but they put out a lot of spoilers. A lot of spoilers.
TikTok
And
spoilers.
they don't even like alert you beforehand.
No, so you see the.
I see a lot of One Punch Man spoilers all the time.
all the time,
All the
and
time.
it happens with shows generally because I'm like. I started watching The Walking Dead, and obviously I'm late to the party. I know.
I've never seen it. I need to watch it as well.
But there's like clips of The Walking Dead, and I'm like, I haven't got to that part, but I know it's definitely The Walking Dead. So it's like little spoilers irritate me on social media.
Okay.
I'll be honest, and that's everywhere: TikTok, and Instagram.
And you get that with
sometimes.
everything though. Like the Kardashians just came out with a new series, and there's so many spoilers on that. I know. I'm talking about the Kardashians.
I mean,
There's
she's
a reason.
comparing,
There's a
she's
reason.
comparing anime to the Kardashians right now.
Wait, but can
Some
I just
animes
ask,
have 1,000 episodes, you know
Anime
that?
Walking
Yeah, like
Dead.
the One Piece.
Yeah,
which is-
One Piece is the
so
big one.
anime is in Walking Dead, or the Walking Dead the actual
No,
series?
Walking Dead is in the
Separate.
actual like live
Yeah.
action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's the
I was
one.
like, they did anime?
No, that would
madness.
be amazing though.
Yeah,
oh
imagine.
my god.
The
Yeah.
Carnage, that's almost
Whoa.
a little bit like Walking Dead is basically like Attack on Titan
Yeah.
in some ways.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
You
man.
watch anime? Oh my god.
I know about anime. I don't really watch it because I work in the gaming industry, so everyone's obsessed with
Okay.
anime, and I'm like
Yeah.
the one guy that doesn't watch it. But mate, before I let you go, do you want to be a parent?
I do want to be a parent. I actually do. And actually, someone that I'm speaking to very, very recently, I'm like having baby conversations, and that
They're
isn't-
planning on having your kid? Someone I'm speaking to actually about
Yeah.
But it's not
Yeah.
from how I have grown up in relationships and when I'm talking, dating, etc., etc. It's like a taboo thing, right? You don't
Yeah.
really go in with that. You seem really forward if you do that, right? But now it's the reason why I'm talking about it is because of my priorities.
Yeah.
I do actually
in
want
your
to know.
future.
Yeah, I want to know that whoever it is that I'm speaking to is wanting the same thing, right?
Of course.
Of course, you have to tick all the boxes.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Oh my God, I want a kid, and we're a year, 2 years into the relationship, and
And they're
she
like,
doesn't
no.
want one. Like that would be heartbreaking. Jesus.
We didn't plan to have Rocket.
Oh really?
Yeah.
The Rocket, no, that.
So we were. He doesn't know that. Now he knows it.
Tell him. I mean, do we have to tell him? I mean, is that a thing? Is that a conversation you have to
It's just a
have?
conversation of hey, like you weren't in the plan at that point in time. He was in the plan, but not so soon.
And you
Okay, yeah, I hear that.
So
it was-
we just bought a house and we were doing the house up, and then we fell pregnant. And he was actually on a work trip for 2 months. So I was like, I've got to tell him over FaceTime, otherwise I'm going to be already
Guess
2
how
months
she told
gone.
me.
How
I held up a little like baby grow saying player 3 has entered the game because he's in gaming.
Sick is that? I know, Mike, I take it. case you couldn't reach, I was an extension of her.
No, that's the thing. And I think now I see so much of myself in the way I was brought up from my mum in parenting Rocket.
Oh, okay.
So one of my questions to you is, do you ever look back at the way you were brought up and think, oh, this is how I'm going to parent or I'm not going to parent?
Yeah, I was smacked a lot.
Okay.
Corporal
I think I was as well,
Yeah.
though, but I think that was the time.
Yeah, I was as well.
I was
So,
going to
I
actually
wouldn't say
flip
a lot,
the question
but,
and say,
Yeah.
is that a thing for you guys? But
yeah, I was like smacked on the bum. I
Yeah.
think I was hit across the face maybe like twice,
Yeah,
and it was
same.
like serious. It's because I was really misbehaving, and it was like, I feel like it was, but again, back in that time, so
the
this is
thing.
like late 90s, it wasn't necessarily, frowned upon, or, that
Our
was just
parents
seen
were
as...
hit with belts. Like, let's
Yeah,
go
so-
back to their
and you
You keep
generation.
going back, it
schools,
gets worse.
right? In
Yeah.
schools, the teachers were allowed
Rulers,
to
bang, yeah.
give them
Yeah.
give them a quick one. But now, being where we are now in our generation, I'm like, is it necessary? Do you do the same thing? So that's one thing where I'm really conflicted with. Do I
How do you discipline?
in the same way that I was disciplined? Because I would certainly say it worked for me. I can't say I've got
Yeah,
any.
that's true.
So actually, it's like it works. So,
Yeah,
but
so I'm
it's
like-
that's a very hot button conversation within the parenting community of how you discipline children, because
Yeah.
you have people who say go on the naughty step or something like that, and it's just like, is that
Well,
punishment too light? Is your child actually going to learn anything from that? And then the people that go too far on the extreme, you never want your kid to be fearful of you. So there's like this balance of actually your children fearing you actually brings about more negative repercussions in their later life, as opposed to, them understanding what they've done wrong. So then how do you explain to a kid that they've done wrong?
Yeah.
But it's a way
yeah,
of language
tough.
as well, that the way the language has changed with the generation gap with our parents and us now. Like, I see a lot on TikTok is, instead of saying don't do that, you take them away from something that they shouldn't be doing and go, let's distract
Let's do
you
this instead.
and we'll go and
Yeah.
do that. That's another alternative way of parenting, instead of saying you're not allowed to touch that. Because if you say you're not allowed to jump up and down, the kid's thinking, I'm going to jump up and
Yeah,
down, because
really
they're hearing
wanna do
jump
it.
up and down.
Yeah.
So it's a way of redirecting them and changing your language, and that makes a big difference in parenting now, which we didn't have. We didn't have the internet back when our parents had us. They didn't
No.
get all this
So many
information.
tablets everywhere, right? Like,
Yeah. Oh my God, the tablets. Oh my God, our child's obsessed. Flipping out. And also TV. Do you get them into TV? That's another question. Like,
Would you do that? Like, would you get them into?
being, well, actually, we have had this conversation whether we stop putting him on social media.
Really?
Because of like the things that you see with AI. But the problem is they're going to be anywhere. They're going to be everywhere anyway. Like, what was the thing you said yesterday?
I think that if you think by suddenly not showing your kids on social media that somewhere someone's not going to be able to see their face, or like use something for AI, if they really wanted to, you're joking, mate.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's going to be on it, whether or not the ability to even use virtual reality goggles in the future means it has to scan your face in the first place. So then how are you
gonna
going to
be out there anyway.
I
They're
just
gonna have
feel
your
like
data.
the way that technology is integrated into our lives day in, day out, I just feel like we're getting to a point where it's going to be impossible for there not to be a scan of your face out there somewhere, unless you live in the forest.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
honestly
yeah.
like,
Vietnam.
so even though people are like, people are like, oh, you overshare with your kids, or, what do you think of the repercussions of sharing your kid's photo or something like that? And I'm like, whether or not you share one photo on Facebook or you share 1,000 across TikTok or something like that, if someone wants to get a picture of your kid, it's not hard.
No.
And that's not to say that everyone should plaster their kids all over social media. You're obviously entitled to do exactly what you want to do with your kids. Totally.
Well,
We
now
don't feel
you're
like
in the
we're-
media. Now you're in the media
Yeah.
spotlight. Is that something that you would do if you guys had a baby in the next? Well, you guys, but you and a partner in the future would have
Yeah.
a.
I think I'd want to expose them to the harsh realities of life as soon as possible. And there's so much negativity in
Yeah.
social media. And I'm one of those, very similar to you, very positive mindset always. Like, you shouldn't be putting negative things out into the world. So I would want to kind of educate them and wean them in. I think it would be virtually impossible to just allow them not to. I think
Exactly,
especially
yeah.
deeper and deeper as you get into life and the digital world, it's only going to get more and more prevalent. It's only going to grow even more. We're going to potentially immerse ourselves into this reality at some point.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's
kind of work with it, don't work against it, because you're going to be fighting a losing battle.
Exactly. Kind of train them through it. Don't neglect the training. I know when I was younger, I really wish now looking back that I took football more seriously and really kind of trained and got into it sooner rather than later. Instead, 16, one of those knee excuses, couldn't get into a team and all that.
I saw a quote the other day. It was a really interesting one, and it says, if you are really good at tennis and you are struggling at maths, what do your parents put you in more of?
Yes.
And your automatic reaction would be, give them more maths lessons. No,
Make
it's
them
not.
better. No.
Make them better at the thing that they're really good at.
Or at least passionate about.
Yeah, what they enjoy, right?
If they turned around and said, even though they're struggling in maths, if they were like, but I love it, you'd be like, okay, well then do maths. I think it's more nurturing their passion as opposed to nurturing what they're good at. But also that does lean into it. And typically, let's be honest, when a kid's good at something, they like it.
Exactly.
So,
and they're bothering us, right? And saying, oh, I want to do this more, I want to do this more. And I think the key thing is just developing good habits. If you've helped them develop good habits on social media rather than neglecting it, then they should be theoretically safe rather than being completely ignorant to it. And it's like, I think I heard you guys talk about Britney Spears on one of your podcasts before. And it's like
we love Britney.
it's like a Britney Spears moment where they thrust it out into the world, and it's like, oh, panic stations. What do I do? And how do what do I look like in this space? Whereas even as a child, at least they can look at themselves, not ask you the question of, well, where was I when you were filming this, Dad, Mum? Like, it's like, what, was I just sat watching you? Involve them, right? So I don't know.
You know what? Teddy Soares.
Yes,
thank you so much for joining us here on Shhh, Don't Tell Mum. You've been a fantastic guest. Tell your camera over there where you're going to be, what are you doing at the moment, and what should our fans or listeners or viewers go and watch?
So I am on Instagram predominantly at the moment, but I have got a podcast coming out. So stay tuned, and I'm not going to give you the exact date because I don't know the exact date yet, but it will be here with you soon, working on other things. But please tune into SAS at the moment because it's crazy and there is some more violence going to happen on it. So
he may or may not physically abuse Matt Hancock. So we've all got to be there for that, all right?
It's going to be exciting, guys.
SAS Who Dares Wins Celebrity Edition. Teddy is currently on it. Make sure you go and watch it on Channel 4. It's amazing. Teddy.
Sunday, 9 o'clock.
Sunday at 9 o'clock.
Yes.
You're a legend.
Thank you
so much for coming
Honestly,
on the podcast, my friends.
Thank you so much.
I should shake you, hug you.
We'll do a hug. Let's do a hug.
Oh, go on.
Go on.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, whoa. How come I wasn't one of the best people you smelled? Was that too late?
Best people you smell?
Oh, celebrities. Remember we did the celebrity smelling thing?
What celebrity smelling thing?
It was the second episode. I think we did what celebrities smelled the best.
Did we not meet at that point? Was that before?
What are you talking about? I don't remember this.
Christmas?
Yes, we did. We did
Which
this.
celebrities smell the best?
Yes, and we said Beyonce looks like she smells like lemons.
I'm sorry, what? I actually don't remember this. I'm very sorry. I don't remember this.
I remember this conversation, but now you're going to be on that list.
There you go.
You do smell really good.
Thank you.
You've entered the Hall of Smell fame.
So remember the list.
I gotta remember the list, exactly. Thanks, man.
Thank
we'll
you
see
guys.
you soon.
Cheers.
Shh.